Okay, we have the markets just going up and down almost seemingly randomly. A lot of analysts are on the sidelines, scared to make any bold calls in the market, which could affect their jobs. And of course, we're going to be discussing that and a few of the names that reported. This is the Newsbeat Show. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Mark Melnick, and I'll be taking you through the Newsbeat Show as I do 5 days a week, trying to give you guys actionable information, help you guys get a good hold of yourself in terms of where you are in the market. And of course, we're all here for one thing, and it's to make money. So let's just talk about that being the most important thing. I find it funny when, there's so many other products. There's millions of market products out there, and this is really cool. You get this show for free. I share with you very large trades that I do, very large trades that you could do. I share my analysis, and overall, people are happy because they're making money. So, making money is the most important thing in the market. Don't be fooled and think anything else is true. But what happens when the most important thing in the market must be toned back? What happens when the most important thing for you to do in the market is to sit on your hands, to not press the keyboard, to not do a lot of trades? I did one trade today, made money, made a few decent callouts, I thought, as well. But the market is whippy, it's directionless. We're at day lows, we're at day highs, we're at day lows, we're at day highs, we're back to day lows. You know what is very hard to do when the market does that? Swing. It's very hard to be in swing positions. See, most people are like, oh, well, if you're not swinging, it must be a scalper's paradise. Not really. Yes, you can scalp money. I do think that is the most effective strategy for the time being. That can change at any time, even by tomorrow. And we've been calling very profitable scalp trades intraday, including a little silly move like AAOI. I just want to share with you guys what would be something, for example, that I call in my room. What would be an example of something I call in my room? Let me show you. So, for example, just to let you know what it sounds like, in my room, here you have AAOI. It's a name that plopped down on earnings today. Here's a 1 minute chart. So before 9:30, here's 9:31. So I'm just going to zoom in to make it easier to see. So basically, you guys were asking me in the room today, Mark, where can I buy AAOI? And I'm like, well, it's a weak name, but I could probably give you a good scalp level. So it's plummeting. It's at 29, 28.80, 28.70, 28.60. It's going down. And at that point, I basically say one very simple thing. And this isn't real time in the room. I can't stand the Captain Hindsight crap that goes on all around me. I don't think you appreciate it either. The problem is people are so disillusioned that they feel that somebody can just pull up a chart of a really nice trade or pull up a chart of anything and just say, look what you could have done here. Look what you could have done here. And that is not what I do here. The examples I'm giving you are real-time trades called in my room. And this I thought was a garbage trade. However, it's real, it's legitimate, and hundreds of people who are watching this show and, in the room are witnessing this as well. That's why I'm talking about it. And let me show you what I did. So basically, AAOI here in the morning, gap down big on earnings. I basically said, well, not basically, I did say, as the stock was falling through 28, okay, if we're able to fall underneath $27, I would buy it. So the stock is falling, went from 29 to 28, 27.40s, 27.03, drops to 26.93, breaks under $27. And I basically say, all right, guys, this is where I would buy it right here. The stock is at 26.95 at that point. I'm talking on a live broadcast in real time. This is where I buy it right here. Some of you guys you're just amazed. You think it's almost like magical, but it isn't. It's actually algorithmically understandable, and we'll talk about that too. And literally, after I called it, 3 minutes later, the stock popped up $1. Now, you see this little garbage 3 minute move right here? This little $1 move? That's the trade I'm talking about. But let me explain to you. I want to explain to you why I called it. And I'm not showing you a chart. Yes, I could find the more bullish chart. But why talk about something that we could just hypothetically be in? I'm not here to pitch you. I'm not here saying that, I'm going to catch the biggest mover every single day. I'm not here to tell you that because I'm not a liar, nor I'm not full of it either. I'm giving you real actionable ideas in real time. And I'm calling it out very few trades. I called out today like 3 trades. I took one of them. They all worked. So imagine a room where it's silent. I, of course, come in and ask if you guys need any help or any analysis, but imagine just a silent room where my number one goal is to shut up unless I have something important to say. I think people appreciate that in the broadcast world. So using a simple trend line right here, you could see there's support at right around 27.06 on the AAOI. It hit a low of 26.11. But in the morning, I want to show you back to the 1 minute. Here's the line which was 27.06 on the daily. Now, why did I say why not buy at 27.06? Because it's an earnings name with a lot of volume. And if you're at 27.06, you're most likely ready to break 27, at least blip it down. So I took that into account with my support level, with where it was trading, and was able to call a dead bottom within this little 3, before it rose up $1 in this little 3 1-minute range. To me, on a low conviction day, stuff like this is gold. Stuff like this is gold on a low conviction day. It's a hyper scalp. Speaking of hyper scalps, you had a nice initial pop here in Eli Lilly today. And we basically were talking about Eli Lilly, and when we called it out, it pretty much popped 50, 60 cents and then flushed and then digested. But the bottom line is, when we're calling it here as a long, before you pop up 50 cents, that 50-cent pop happened in under 30 seconds. However, you had probably on that idea, you probably had around 15, 20 seconds to react. Imagine that. All right, guys, I'm buying Eli Lilly. 15, 20 seconds later, the stock is doing nothing. And then 20 seconds later, it shoots up 50 cents like magic. That's another trade that we were able to capitalize on. Now, a lot of these trades are quick. A lot of people rather just remain in cash in this market, and I respect that. But for those who are looking to create intraday alpha, for those who are looking to create a source of consistency, I promise you nobody else is going to find these names better than me. Not to sound cocky, but we do it with I base everything I say on statistical evidence. Not one broadcaster I know out there can do that. Ask any broadcaster, how often are you right? No, don't make up a number. Don't make up a number. How often are you right? When I call an intraday trade this year, since January, I'm right 77.4% of the time. That's before today, which I was right a few times. I have to update my numbers. Because as of yesterday, I'm right 77.4% of the time. What does that mean? I don't mean like I call a long, it bounces 10 cents and then drops 50 cents. I don't consider that being right. I consider it me calling out a live entry into the room, me being able to easily scalp money off it, and then saying that it was a successful trade. And we're doing this in a real-time basis every day. So if you're having trouble managing these markets, don't worry. You're not the only one. And if you're part of this room, I'm also smart enough to try to keep you guys away because I know it's a very low conviction market. This is a market where doing nothing tends to be a very good move. Now, moving on along, very simply, we're going to talk about OLED. So they reported OLED. Stock is down to $134.70. How about a support level for tomorrow? I'll give it right now. So my support level for tomorrow is 132.63 in OLED. You could write that down. So what does that mean? Remember my words. It has to follow everything I'm about to say. If OLED opens up above 132.63, or was it 73? Yeah, 132.63. If we open up above that level, just like if we open up where we're trading now, and then we flush through that level hard, with a name like OLED, you generally take out at least a couple points in there. So basically, between 129 and $130.50. Yeah, I'm giving you a $1.50 range in OLED because this thing will move up 10 points in 5 minutes. It's not that big of a range for an earnings day in OLED. Pretty much between that range is where I'm looking to buy OLED for a hyperscale. And this will only work the first time that level hits. That's my answer for OLED tomorrow if you wanted to know where it could go. Another stock that reported was First Solar. So we're going to give, of course, our support levels on OLED and First Solar. Keep an eye on whatever analysts say tomorrow. And then I explain my thoughts on the support levels. So going back over to First Solar. Stock is down to 65.10. Got a little bit of a bounce. The truth is, I'm hoping the following. I'm hoping they move this thing back towards 66.28. So this is my thoughts on my strategy for First Solar tomorrow. Hope that the stock spikes up to break even, hence 66.28. It's down $1.18 officially after hours. Hopefully it shoots up to break even. And then what we're going to do in the room is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up a straddle again. I know you guys love these straddle plays that I call on earnings. You like them because they work, right? That's generally why you like them, because they make you money. That's a good reason to like them. So here's an opportunity with First Solar. Depending on the spread and the options, if it's terrible, which is a case, I might have to ignore it. Depends what it looks like. It is a Friday, so hopefully we could get them cheap. So that's all my thoughts. I'm not looking to buy it if it really plummets or really pops up hard. So I'm literally just sharing the strategy in which I want to do in First Solar. Happy birthday to you too, Brian. I'm glad you got that AAOI birthday present. So yeah, just very simple. I explained basically OLED. I want to flush below 132.63, and First Solar, I want to shoot up and go positive. And of course, I'll watch whatever the analysts have to say, and that's going to help me get a good feel on what to do. All right. Whoops. Clicked the wrong thing. So we're going to talk about clearing your mind for tomorrow and just really remaining positive. And I always, I'm such a young guy. It's funny when you're 18, 19, 20, 21, you want everyone to think you're older than you are because you want to act like you're mature. And then when you're, on the cusp of turning 40, you talk about what a young guy you are. So that's kind of funny how that works. But I want to share a story, a really positive story. I grew up in Brooklyn, in a neighborhood known as Starrett City. It's basically it was like a little ghetto project, really. I mean, they have like the buildings. It's like its own little thing going on there, and it was like cheap housing and whatnot. So it's where I grew up as a kid. And there was this woman who lived in the hallway. I mean, there was one, two, three, four, five, six. There are 8 apartments per. There are 8 apartments per like floor, and there were like 11 floors in my building. So I guess that would mean 88 apartments. And there was this old lady. She was in her 90s. Yeah, that's where I start saying, like, good job, you made it really far. And I was said it's a great story, and I was a little kid, and I was always getting into trouble. I mean, it was a bad neighborhood. We would run outside, I'd play with my friends. It kept me busy. But this lady used to always invite me and my friend Jason inside, and she would give us Tab Coke, like Tab Cola. And I remember reading the label, and I was so silly at the time. I was so silly because the label said sugar free, and you have to remember I was like 5, 6 years old. I literally thought like if you bought the soda, they would give you the sugar for free, like you didn't have to pay extra for the sugar that was in the soda. Granted, Tab really tasted quite disgusting. I never understood why, but I would always go and I'd always do that. One thing about this lady, despite living in a neighborhood that was overridden with gun violence, crimes, other horrible things, drugs, she always left her door unlocked. Always. So anytime my friend Jason and I were playing basketball or whatever, we would, run up, we would get thirsty. We would run in and we would go see her because she would always give us Tab soda. And even though it didn't taste good, it was free and she always welcomed us in and she always left her door open for us. Always left her door open for us. And as a kid, can't remember if I was 5 or 6 when I asked her this, to be honest, but it was one of those 2 years. As a kid, and I remember asking her, I'm like, why do you leave your door open? Aren't you afraid that somebody's going to come in and steal from you? Like, this is a 5-year-old or 6-year-old talking. So keep in mind, like, it's, product of your environment in which you grow up in that makes you ask these questions. And I was, I guess, showing some form of concern. And I was like, yeah, my mommy and daddy always lock the door, like, when we come home. Like, it's one of those things like when you're taking your garbage out to the compactor chute, like somebody is watching you at all times. Like that. Like somebody comes with you to watch you and make sure that you're okay. Just to walk across your own hallway and go back to your apartment. So she said, you know what? She said, you know what? What if? She's like, what if you were in trouble and you needed somewhere to go? My door will always be open for you. And I remember she said that. And I was, I didn't realize the power or strength of her words. I was just silly and said okay. And Jason, my friend, his parents were divorced. He lived with his mother on the same floor as me in Starrett City, and she basically was dating different men, and one of the guys beat the crap out of her. Beat the crap out of her, for lack of a better word. I mean, I remember this was like, I must have been like 7 or 8 at this point. This was like much later. And she was trying to get out of the house. The dude ripped the phones out of the line so she couldn't call for help. She was So he ripped she had like 3 phones in her house. He ripped every single one out. She was trying to get to the elevator. I mean, she's 10 stories up. She's not going to go out of a window. She's trying to get away from the elevator, and the dude literally ran past her and was preventing her from going to the elevator. And what she did at that point is, on our same floor was this woman. Her name, they called her Bobby. I don't know if her name was like Barbara or something for short, but we called her Bobby. I'm assuming that's a nickname for Barbara. So she basically, Iris, Jason's mom, actually was able to go inside Bobby's house, lock the door behind her, and call the police. Her ex-boyfriend, obviously at that time, was arrested. Um, he was tried for aggravated assault, etc., etc., etc. And the saddest part about that was Bobby passed like a week later after that whole incident. Like she was done. I remember like as a kid nobody wanted to explain to me what happened to her. But pretty much like all her stuff was there. I remember like there were police in the place and whatever. And they're like, "Oh yeah," and I remember my parents lying to me, which is a very interesting thing because like do you really want your parents to like lie to you as a kid? I mean, are some lies okay? Like maybe. I don't know. I haven't, I'm a new dad, so I don't really have a good answer for that. I'm like brutally honest with my kid, and I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's just the way I approach it. So my parents were telling me she moved away. And I remember saying, like, she still has her couch and whatever. Where's she going to sit down and watch TV? My parents laughed at me and said that she moved. Well, obviously, I found out later she didn't move, she passed. But here's a woman in her 90s, young 90s, and she managed to just hold on for one specific moment, just not knowingly, I don't know, just to save the person next to her, which she didn't even know she would ever need to do. But here's a woman who, just in case, in the worst I'm sure there are worse neighborhoods than Starrett City growing up, but it was bad. And here's a woman in like a terrible neighborhood, a single elderly woman leaving her door open just in case somebody needs to get inside her house. And I'm trying to think what the moral of the story is, and I think I finally figured it out. I think the moral of the story is sometimes all the crap that you have been through in trading up until whatever point that you are at now was almost a test to see if you could hold on. If you could hold on because one really good thing might come out of it. And I felt my career go through similar shifts like that before too. When I'd make a lot of money and then I'm making very little money. And all of a sudden something just comes out of nowhere. And it almost justified every single thing that I have been through prior. Whether, whatever it is, whether you had a blowout day and you hurt your account, whatever it was, it almost felt justified at the end when you were able to experience that moment of goodness. And I know it's a weird analogy, but it's the best way I can relate this story. I am saying is if you have made it this far and you are still trading, what I believe is that there's going to be something very good to be rewarded for your hard work and persistence. So do not give up. This is not the market, however, to make a ton of money, unless we have a big news play, of course, then we all hit home runs. But short of something, like that, I think you pretty much stay back. You take it easy, and you see, you let the chips fall in place. But I think something very good is going to happen to you guys who have been on very rough journeys up until this point, because I do believe your turnaround is here. So I just wanted to share that with you. And Okay, well, now we're going to share our game plan and our Forex. Very simple. I'm giving you Whiting Petroleum bullish. That's WLL. And you could just see what happened today with it. It just literally shot up. Just a really powerful move there in WLL. They obviously announced earnings. They finished strong. I would look for potential follow through from the name. I would look for a break tomorrow of 28.94. And then, of course, we have our Forex orders. Only got a couple of them here today for you guys. That's, I guess, that's all I was able to find. You can go ahead and screenshot them. It's very simple. Every night I cancel the orders that did not get filled, which are the majority of them. Most of these orders don't get filled, but when they do, they do. You have my type of order, buy, my size, the symbol, the price, the stop loss, the take profit. You could go ahead and print screen it or rewatch this video and get to this point and copy it at your best convenience. And of course, now we're going to have our full stock analysis. That, of course, is for Newsbeat Live members only. And we're going to be going over everything. Any questions on any stocks you might have, potential support and resistance levels, potential entry levels, thought process, discussion, news, etc., based on whatever trade you're watching. But again, of course, that is just for members only. We are the fastest growing trading room in the nation. Happy trading, make money, and we'll see you guys tomorrow morning in the Newsbeat Live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful evening.